Okay. Muri Zimbabwe. Tiribo muno Zimbabwe. And tiripanguwa imwe iya. Right now zvinzvirikuitika and it's getting quite interesting muri Zimbabwe. So there has been a statement issued by Zvamainga Muhondo pa Twitter. Zvamainga Muhondo muri Zimbabwe. So you have to understand this. Right, let's get into the statement. Commander, Zimbabwe National Army, Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tapfumanei has spoken. Right, and what he has said deserves careful and balanced attention, not because it is controversial, but because it is constitutionally sound. The military should not involve itself in political matters, including the ongoing constitutional amendment process. The army is subservient to civilian authority. It must wait to execute and implement the outcome of political processes. These are not the words of a partisan. They are the foundational principles of a constitutional democracy, and they must be respected. Zimbabwe, ndoda kuti mubate nyaya iri panapa, munzwisise nyaya iri panapa. Right, so statement right now zero. Let me say this plainly. The general is correct. The world over, armies are subject to civilian authority. There is no country under the sun where the military writes the constitution. The constitution is the supreme expression of the people's will. It is not authored by the men and women in uniform. It is authored by the people through their representatives in accordance with the procedures the constitution itself prescribes. The army's role is to defend the republic, not to define it. The general was right to remind the nation of this. But apo muri Zimbabwe ndo pandakuda kuti muchinzwisisa. But patangwa na but, because ukaona pakutangwa na but kazozva zvese zvachitangwa kumusoro zviri right, but and so regaitipinde ku the other side of this whole thing, right? But constitutional principles are not a la carte. They are a package, and the same constitution that requires the military to be subservient to civilian authority also requires the president to respect term limits. The same supreme law that commands the army to follow lawful orders also commands that no amendment extending a president's term shall benefit the incumbent. The same constitutional framework that keeps the military out of politics is the framework the cabal is attempting to dismantle with a nanny obstante clause designed to override the firewall the people put in place. The rule of law is invisible. You cannot invoke it to restrain one institution while violating it to entrench another. You cannot demand that soldiers respect the constitution while the politicians they serve are rewriting it in the dark. You cannot tell the army to wait for the outcome of a political process that is itself constitutionally contested, a process whose legality is still an open question deferred by the court not on the merits but on procedure. The general is right. The army must not intervene in politics, but the corollary is equally true. The politicians must not place the army in a position where its constitutional oath is tested beyond endurance. The greatest threat to military subordination to civilian authority is not a restless barracks. It is a civilian authority that has abandoned the constitutional fidelity and expects the army to simply comply. A lawful government commands lawful obedience. A government that breaks the law places every soldier in a moral and legal dilemma, torn between the duty to obey orders and the duty to uphold the supreme law. This is the principal tension at the heart of this moment. The general spoke the language of constitutional orthodox. He was right to do so, but constitutional orthodox applies to all, not just to the military. The same standard he invoked to keep soldiers out of politics is the standard the nation must apply to those driving Cab 3 through a captured parliament. The legitimacy of civilian authority rests on its own fidelity to the constitution. When that fidelity is questioned, when the courts have deferred but not resolved the constitutional challenge, when the process is tainted by allegations of manufactured consent, when the incumbent himself presided over the cabinet cabinet that approved his own extension, the moral authority of that civilian authority is dismissed, diminished. And a civilian authority with diminished moral authority is not strengthened by demanding military subservience. It is exposed. The general's statement is a reminder of the constitutional order as it should be, but that order is a chain and every link must hold. If the political link corrodes, if the constitution is amended without the people's consent, if term limits are extended in defiance of express prohibitions, the military link is placed under strain no professional soldier should have to bear. The way to protect the army from politics is not to lecture the army. It is to protect the constitution from the politicians. A lawful process produces a lawful outcome. A lawful outcome commands lawful obedience, but a process whose constitutionality remains unresolved, deferred by the courts, contested by the people, rejected in every verifiable forum, produces uncertainty, and uncertainty is the enemy of the military discipline. The Herald publishes this speech today for a reason. It is a message to the barracks, to the nation, to the region. It says the military is under control. The chain of command is intact. The constitution is being respected. That is the message the cabal needs to project as the parliamentary process grinds forward and the legal challenges multiply. But a message is not a fact, and the fact is that the constitutional questions raised by CAB 3 have not been answered. They have been postponed. The general is correct on the principle the army must be subservient to civilian authority and the civilian authority must be subservient to the constitution. Both duties are absolute, both duties are sacred, and both duties will be tested in the days ahead, not by the military, but by the politicians who are asking the military to enforce an outcome whose legality has not been established yet. Zimbabwe. This is a statement from Jamainga Muhondo. Andidi. Vari kutaura about statement rabudiswa na General Walter Tapfumanei. Vari kutaura kuti marinzo. So, ndino yenyu pari pamuzinda wevanhu. Uri kutuona pa Inside Africa Network. Follow, like the video. Uri kutuona pa The Mtapa Times pa YouTube. Follow, subscribe, like the video, share it, so that my Zimbabweans know exactly what is happening. Ndino yenyu super. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Peace.